So, Chris, I think this is Carl's episode.
Carl.
You know, Carl the bartender.
Yeah.
And he really doesn't get a lot of screen time in most of the episodes. And actually, most of the episodes, he's not in the episode at all. But he gets a lot of screen time in this one.
He does. And it really highlights that the gang isn't that nice to him.
Yes.
Like, he seems to enjoy them. He considers them like his favorite patrons. The owner really likes them. He makes them these, free drinks. He's proud of these drinks. Like, he made this new shot. He wants them to try it. It's on the house. That's a lot of liquor, so that'd be pretty expensive to just give away for free. And they say thank you, but I don't know. Then Ted calls him a bitch.
Yeah.
So,
this is my favorite line in the episode. But man, the kind of abuse that Carl puts up with. There should be another series just called McLaren's, where it's all about Carl and his staff and the goddamn fucking customers.
yeah, so Wendy the waitress is, maybe one of the main characters, and
she's sleeping with people in the back room. Probably Barney.
Yeah, Barney and Ted's dad.
Yes.
So there's that. But yeah, the gang is like barely in the spinoff.
Yeah.
But like in the background. Maybe even used like footage from the show so they don't even have to bring them in.
Or like obvious like body doubles so that's sort of like how the staff sees them, like they're just another face in the crowd.
I like it.
This is Himium Superfans. Hey there, Chris Venezia.
Hello, James Hamilton.
And hello, Mother fans. This is the show where we talk about the CBS comedy How I Met Your Mother.
And James, since this is one of my favorite episodes, is there any chance that I can ruin the show for our fans this week?
You mean like ruin it, like spoil plot points for the entire series?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Well, then by all means, friend. By all means.
Even though we're only doing the first season, we will have spoilers for the rest of the show. So if you don't want to know that Trudy is the mother's cousin, then maybe come back to this podcast once you've watched the whole series.
Yeah, it makes the planned second threesome episode really weird.
Yeah, it does.
All right. So this is the pineapple incident, a.k.a. Damn it, Trudy, get to the pineapple! Which is one of the many lines I love from this episode. It is episode 10 of the first season, if you want to watch after this. It was originally aired November 28th of 2005, and it was written by Carter Bays. Who's that?
Yeah, he wrote it solo, according to the internet.
Craig was
busy that day. Golf plans.
Yes. And Pamela Fried Spam and Pineapple Fryman is the director of this episode.
So in this episode, Robin goes on a date. Ted calls her several times after getting blackout drunk. And the next day, the rest of the gang tries to put the pieces back together.
Yes, it's a mystery episode. I really like that about it. I mean, so far, Ted's tried dating Robin. He's tried this matchmaking service. He's visited old girlfriends. He's fought with the roommate about the apartment. He's waited for the slutty pumpkin. And he's tried and failed to be a volunteer. So this has been a lot of failure for Ted.
Yeah, so he needs a win?
Yeah.
Okay. So I ruined your most memorable moment.
I drank all 5, bitch.
It's just so mean.
You didn't ruin it because I like saying it.
Oh, there you go.
Drank all 5, bitch.
And Carl's expression, like he looks at Marshall. He doesn't look at Ted. He looks at Marshall. He's like, did he just say? They don't hold on his face long enough. I wish they had.
It's another example of why this is a Carl episode, because it's just a little piece of character development that he's not the kind of guy who's just going to punch Ted in the face, but he could.
Yeah, he could. He looks like the kind of guy that'd be capable of it.
He's the big, muscular, potentially violent guy who abstains from violence.
Yeah, I get that impression from Carl.
Yeah.
No fighting.
Yeah.
No fighting in the bar.
Yeah.
Be kicked out.
Well, what do you like about
Danica McKellar.
What do you like?
Danica McKellar.
What?
Danica McKellar.
All right. So why?
Well, she's a math genius for one, and she was on the Wonder Years.
Good enough.
Winnie.
So this one begins with the opening credits and 2030 Ted telling his kids that there's one story he doesn't remember. Uncle Marshall still refers to it as the pineapple incident.
Yeah, it's interesting that Ted would tell his kids a story about his blackout drinking, but he tells his kids a lot of adult stories.
Yeah, like the aforementioned threesome episode.
Right.
It's the sequel to this one. Back in 2005, the whole gang is at the bar in their booth, just drinking, having a good time, when Carl brings over 5 complimentary shots that he's created that he calls the Red Dragon.
Mm-hmm. And Lily makes a comment that it looks like blood.
Yeah, the Vampire Slayer would say that, wouldn't she?
Mm-hmm. So we finally get to something that we've talked about in previous episodes. So Marshall suggests that Carl is a vampire, and fans of this show know that that is one of my favorite Marshall theories.
Yeah, and they're not. The gang doesn't want to drink the shots. They're at 27. They've already decided that drinking shots is a bad idea.
Well, I think at 27, I knew that this is the kind of night that I would have, like Ted's night. It's like do what I do, but if it's like people want to do shots, if I say yes, then I know that I'm going to be missing pieces of that night, and I don't particularly care for that.
Right.
So it's like if I can either say no, or if I do it, I just know that that's what my night is going to be like.
Right. So they just let the shots sit on the table while Robin reveals that she's got a date with this 100 millionaire
named Derek.
The gang's making fun of her, basically, because they keep saying, oh, the billionaire, the $2,000 a plate dinner that he's taking you to, and they keep rounding up.
And they call him Thurston Howell.
Yeah. Once she leaves, Marshall asks Ted, are you going to be okay with this? Why would he not be?
Right. Ted says he's fine. He says that Robin is just his friend, that it would not be smart if they got together, that he's looking to settle down and she's looking for something else. And I think this is the smartest thing Ted has said on the show so far. But this is where the episode, which I love this episode, by the way, but this is where the episode gets confusing to me. This is the 10th episode, and I've never seen Ted think once. All I've seen him do is do. And now his friends tell him that he thinks too much, and they want him to turn that off and just start doing.
Yeah, they've definitely done a good job of making Ted and Robin friends. I felt like it was genuine that after the pilot that they made this attempt to become friends. I mean, they went and volunteered together. There was a little bit of flirtiness there, but it wasn't really sexual chemistry. It was, I think, a genuine friendship building. And this is the episode where they start to turn that around, head the other direction.
Right, because after this we're going to get the limo and then the wedding.
Yeah. Barney's, meanwhile, more interested in talking about Half-Boob, as he calls her, the lovely lady on the other side of the bar who's very short with an ample bosom. Very, very much my type also, Barney.
That is very much your type, James. So he wants to try Daddy's home.
Yes.
The first time we get to hear that. That's pretty gross in my opinion. I try not to be a judgmental person, but Barney pushes my boundaries on that.
Yes.
So it doesn't work, but Barney pretends that it works so that he can prove a point to Ted.
Yeah, this whole conversation is like trying to set up that Ted is thinking too much and sort of maybe trying to buy back the fact that they haven't been running a lot of episodes where Ted's thinking too much. So this whole first half of the episode is set up to contrast with the rest of the episode.
Yep. So Marshall asks if, is there anything on the menu that has garlic? Because he's still fixated. He doesn't care about Half-Boob.
Yeah, everybody's have their own conversation here.
Yes, it's all about me and what I want to talk about tonight at McLaren's. So, yeah, Marshall's still stuck on this Carl's a vampire thing. It turns out there's garlic fries on the menu.
Yeah.
Or maybe he put garlic fries on the menu to distract Marshall from the truth. And in any conspiracy theory, the contrary evidence only perpetuates the conspiracy.
It sounds like some older shit. So Marshall and Barney, they giggle at the word doo-doo, and
doo-doo.
They just threw that in for the joke, but I like because it foreshadows that they celebrate their childlike humor throughout the series. Like a little later, you'll hear them giggle about the word duty and sack.
Yeah. Sack.
But they start peer pressuring Ted into drinking these shots, and this was like the most uncomfortable part of the episode for me because it's literally peer pressure. Like I'm surprised Lily didn't say, this is peer pressure. I teach my 5-year-olds about this.
Yeah, and she starts to say something that's along those lines. It's like, yeah, you guys are being moronic and drink. And like she gets right into it too. Yeah, it is peer pressure-y. It made me uncomfortable a little less, though, I think. I felt like Ted trusts his friends, and he knows that they're not going to let him get into too much trouble. It's not really that true. Because, they just put him to bed and then assume that he stays there, and then he doesn't, and then Barney lights him on fire. It's not really, a friend thing to do. But I felt like Ted, he did it, he was okay with it, because he trusted their judgment.
Yeah.
Which was probably wrong.
I was going to ask you, why would Ted give into that? It doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would. But, maybe he's still a little depressed from Thanksgiving when he was working for the tobacco industry, and he's pro-cancer.
Right.
He's ready to let go.
Yes.
And forget himself, turn off his brain. Before he says that, he says, I have a very powerful brain. It's like, that's got to be the most arrogant thing Ted has said in the series.
I can't think of anything more arrogant than I have a super brain, I have a really powerful brain, you can't turn this brain off. Who even says that?
If anything, it does show that maybe Ted is one of those people who's up in his own head a lot, like thinking about himself too much. Maybe that's kind of the reason that he has a lot of trouble in relationships, perhaps some scientists believe.
Could be.
Ted starts doing the shots, and about the 4th or 5th shot, he blacks out. We have this nice little graphic that showcases his memory loss, like with the spinning pineapple and the numbers and Floss, please call. And then the next thing we see is him waking up and just staring at this pineapple.
Yep. That's the first thing that he sees, and he wonders, what in the world did he do last night?
Yeah, where was that pineapple?
I don't know. There's a lot of places that it could have been.
But he gets out of bed, and he's limping because he sprained his ankle. So that's the first mystery.
Sprained ankle?
Yeah. So how much did he drink?
So we start to jump around in time at this point. And it's about the only way that the story can be told and make any sense. So we're at the bar. This is right after he's drank the 5 shots. Carl comes over and asks, what did they think of him?
I drank all 5, bitch, says Ted. And I loved Radner's drunk acting in this episode. He's immediately uninhibited. He not only says, I drank all 5, bitch. This next thing he says is, Marshall thinks you're a vampire. He just sort of like spits the words out in the sort of the same way that he's just lobbing the shot glass on the tray. Yep.
And Marshall gives him a really dirty look there because he's not happy.
Yeah.
He's been outed.
Yes.
Because if Carl's a vampire, the only thing that Marshall had on his side was the element of surprise.
Yes.
That Carl didn't know that he was on to him, and now he's lost that.
Yeah.
So he gets a dirty look from Marshall. That was pretty fun. But yeah, it's like Ted at that point, he's just like lost it, but in that sort of that good drunk acting sort of way.
Believable. He's not like immediately falling down. He's not really slurring his words, but he does get up on the back of the booth and he immediately flips out that phone and he calls Robin and is like, you should be one of the minutes.
Yes.
That's funny. I'm funny.
I'm funny. But yeah, just to share information like that he knows Marshall wants to keep a secret and that he calls Robin and says you take it slow. Take it slow. And yeah, it's just he's just completely uninhibited.
This is enough to get the phone confiscated by Mom Lily and immediately returned by Barney. This is the moment where Barney starts treating Ted like he's a reality show. Like he's enabling his bad decisions with the whole drunk dialing thing. And like all 3 of them actually seem to be interested in drunk Ted, but only Barney seems to be the one enjoying the Ted self-destructing sort of behavior.
Yeah, we also saw that in Matchmaker, where Barney's just sitting there quietly, like sipping on his drink, listening to Ted talk about Dr. O'Brien and all the things that they have in common. And Barney's just sitting there, looks like he's being a good listener, but in his head you can see the gears are turning. He's like, wow, this is going to blow up. This is going to be catastrophic. I can't wait to get a front row seat and get the popcorn ready to watch this disaster.
Yeah.
So Barney does that. When Ted is about to Ted something up, then he gets really excited. And it also, Barney flip-flops in this episode. Like, at first he wants Ted to call Robin, and then later, when calling Robin means that he's not paying attention to his wingmanning responsibilities, then Barney switches, and he's like, no, you can't call Robin now. You could before, now you can't. If you do it, I'm going to light you on fire.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. But yeah, it's like Ted has all this stuff in his head that he really needed to do all of these things, but just couldn't. So he just needed a little push.
Yeah, he's become uninhibited. The drunk acting starts to ramp up, but it's still believable. It's not over the top. He picks a song in the jukebox. It's that song, Hey, It's Me Again.
Yep, by Cheap Trick.
Yeah. There's something so relatable about, like, just letting go, belting out a song in a crowded bar, at the top of your lungs, you feel like you're on the top of the world. It's oddly compelling.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why karaoke exists and karaoke bars do so well. McLaren's isn't one.
No.
This is just on the jukebox, and he's just singing it. But I mean, there is something to be said about that. The times where, you just let yourself go, you blow off the steam. Shout the thing into the microphone, which he doesn't even have a microphone. He's holding his cell phone like a microphone with the mic part up so that he can sing to Robin.
Yes.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but yes, there's something about that whole scene that seems very liberating. And, you just want to be in Ted's shoes until he falls.
Right. I mean, just about the moment that he's standing up on the chair screaming, I love everybody in this bar! He falls down. You can, if you pay attention, you can see Danica is giving him the eyes.
She checks him out.
Yeah.
Like she sees him singing, looks at him. She seems interested in what he's doing. She checks him out.
Yeah, the eyes go up and down.
Yep, they do.
But you mentioned this, and I love it too. That Robin's expression, because for most of Robin's appearance in this episode, she's on the phone with Ted.
Yes, most of her screen time is on the phone. I highly recommend going back to watch, if nothing else, that moment when Ted is singing to Robin on the phone. Her expression is priceless. Probably see if we can put a still of it on the Facebook page.
Oh yeah,
because it's that wonderful.
So after Ted falls down, Lily and Marshall decide he's drunk enough. Let's take him home. Put him into bed. Ted asks, "When you put me to bed, was there a girl in my bed?"
Yes, which you'd think that they would have started. They would have opened with that.
Yes. How was sex with her last night?
Right. Also, how's her ankle?
Yes.
But they didn't open with that, so they had no idea. So they go peek. They do a little peeky, little looky-loo.
Mm-hmm. And that's news to them. So the next person to ask is Barney. So they give him a call. Phone's ringing in the other room.
I loved this, and this was the first episode of this show that I ever saw. And it was such a great way to get an introduction to all the characters for not seeing the pilot.
Absolutely.
Because they're like, oh, we got to call Barney. And I'm like, oh, Barney, yeah, what's he up to? He's sleeping in their bathtub because the porcelain is good for his suits.
Yes.
And he, listened to Lily P when she needed a bathroom break in the middle of the night and totally laughs about it. Yeah. He's like super proud that he got to hear her pee.
Yeah. It sets up Barney as creepy and a little pervy, as vain, as obsessed with his suits. Also that he's an experienced drinker and that he has done this before.
Yeah, he planned ahead.
Yeah. To finish things off, he says, for a little girl, you've got a big tank. And then if you watch his eyes real closely, he checks her out, like points his eyes down at her tank, so to speak.
And she looks uncomfortable by all of this.
Yes. Yes.
So after Lily and Marshall put Ted to bed, he gets up and he goes down and he rallies and he hangs out with Barney for like a few more minutes.
Yes.
Really is about all that lasts.
Yeah, Ted bursts into the bar singing, "I'm back, baby dolls!" Barney says he rallies, and that's a term I hadn't heard before this episode, and that's another one of those things that became part of our group was he rallies. Are you going to rally later?
Yeah, you're going to be able to rally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we've acquired.
And this is part 2 of How to Act Drunk by Josh Radnor. And he's a little less animated. He rubs his face a lot. He shakes. His body language when he's holding the phone and he's making those phone calls to Robin is different from before. He's just more relaxed. But he's also a little more wobbly too.
Yeah, and he like bumps into Barney. He's like holding the phone close to his face so that he can see it.
Yeah.
Things like that. So Barney wants to do some very late night wingmanning. Where he's like, hey, do a have you met Ted? Ted says, he's ready to go.
Bring it on.
And he immediately walks away after that to over by the jukebox to call Robin. This is where Barney switches gears, and now he doesn't want Ted to call Robin. And I think it's because he's not doing what Barney wanted him to do.
Yeah.
Like, that when I said call Robin and you did it, that was good. When I say we're going to talk to chicks and you're not doing it, now I have a problem with it, and I will light you on fire, which he does. And real Suede wouldn't have gone up that fast. You got robbed. It was a blend.
Yes. And I love that little rationalization because it relieves so many questions like, why does Barney carry a Zippo lighter? Why does he think lighting his friends on fire is okay?
Yeah, and I don't think that Carl would be on board with that, but we don't get to see that reaction.
Yeah, we don't get to see him put out. Apparently, he was put out by the beverage gun. He hosed him off. But that's on the opposite end of the bar.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell's going on with that? But
no, that's probably why they didn't show it.
Yeah.
But then that's another thing where you don't get to see what's happening because Robin, the camera is on Robin.
Yeah.
And she's like, Ted, you gotta stop calling me. And then Ted just starts screaming.
Yes.
I'm on fire! And then she's a little concerned, but she's still on a date, so she can't really stop what she's doing.
So cut back to the apartment again. It's the next day. Neil, NPH, gets his little taste of physical comedy for the episode with his famous Scooby-Doo run.
Yeah, he's running in place, and when he runs back to the couch, he almost slips and wipes out.
Yeah, his
on
leg
the hardwood
goes all the way out. He's almost horizontal.
But he doesn't know. Barney doesn't know that there is a woman in Ted's bed either.
Yeah.
Because after he lit his friend on fire and then hosed him down with a beverage gun, he put him to bed, which also, you go back and watch that scene, Ted did not really care that much. He tells Barney, after being lit on fire, that he's a gentleman and a scholar to take his finest steed from his stable. His name is Windjammer. And the next day he cares that he was lit on fire, but in that moment, he didn't care.
It's just... Boy, but there are a few more missing scenes that explain that. But this is when Ted realizes he's been set on fire. He starts checking himself for burns, like he wouldn't have felt that, like he felt the broken ankle. And that's when he pulls up his sleeve, and you can see, if lost, my name is Ted. If lost, please call. And then it has that fake I'm on TV number, the 555.
Yeah, it really bothered you.
It does. It bothers me. It could have so easily have had the first 3 letters visible and then obscure the last 4, but whatever.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the 555 like you did. I get it, and it's fake, and it's obviously fake. What bugged me is that there's no area code. That means if somebody wanted to call that number, they would have had to start going through every New York area code and then add the last 7 digits onto the prefix. Just to call somebody. At that point, they're like, "No, that guy's just going to stay dead in this gutter."
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah. So you kind of need an area code, Carl. It's New York.
Yeah.
2005. I don't even think you could have gotten away with that here in Central Illinois.
Yeah, come on, Carl, get your head out of your ass.
So Carl tells him that he showed back up.
Yeah.
That he threw up.
I'm back, baby dolls.
Yes.
Again.
And then he goes to throw up. He comes back and he says. Karaoke means empty orchestra.
Yes.
He also says that he should probably go sneak into the zoo because he has to go see some penguins right now.
Right now.
He also asked Carl about being a vampire again.
Yes.
And that's when he gets cut off, which only furthers Marshall's theory. It's Ted starts asking too many questions, and that's when he gets cut off.
Yeah. It is kind of curious that Carl would keep serving him because it does seem like Ted is the worst kind of customer, at least drunk Ted is. But then I don't know. It's not like he broke anything.
And he didn't throw up at all.
Yeah.
But if he did, he actually made it to the toilet.
Yeah.
He doesn't get into fights. So he's not the worst. He's disrespectful towards Carl. So that's like that would be a reason why Carl wouldn't want him to get too drunk. He's like, yeah, I mean, Ted's a good guy, but whenever he drinks too much, he calls me a bitch. So I just, it shouldn't hurt, but it kind of does.
Yeah.
It's a hurtful thing to say to another human being.
Yes. There's this wonderful scene where Ted calls who he thinks is Robin, and Carl says, oh, yeah, this is going to go well. But doesn't stop him. Like, Carl cares enough to keep Ted from dying. Not enough to keep him from getting arrested, and not enough to keep him from drunk dialing this girl he's been harassing all night.
Yeah, that's exactly how much he cares.
Yes, it's a very, very well-defined line.
Yeah.
But Carl overhears the phone call, and things seem to end well for Ted on that phone call. Carl's a little impressed.
So that's when they think that it's Robin.
Yeah.
Because he'd been calling Robin all night, so he's sure that it's Robin in his bed. And he's like, oh, are we dating now? Maybe this is how things had to go. And he starts thinking again. Somebody get him a shot. But you mentioned this is the first high five. Yeah, this is the first high five for Barney in the whole show. He's had his hand up several times. No one's given him one. But finally, when he says, those 5 shots did more to get you and Robin together than your thinking ever did.
Yeah.
So you need to give me a high five, and he gets one. And then Lily wants one too.
Yeah, and
she's happy for Ted.
Yeah, and I love that they saved the first high five for Ted nailing Robin, or we assume, and it's like this. Well, Barney's like raises his arm real slow, like sort of reluctant to it, but also at the same time he's like, "Yes, I am the champion. You must acknowledge, high five it."
It's sort of both.
Yes.
Yeah, like the reluctant high five, but then also, like
it's like
the winner.
The high five equivalent of the slow clap. Ted walks into the bedroom to talk to quote-unquote Robin, just as guess who's calling on the phone? Robin.
Yeah, I love that because he answers, like, hello? Like, hey, Ted, this is Robin. And he's, like, looking at this, face-down woman in his bed. He's like, are you sure? And that's where I was wondering, is like, does Ted still have some alcohol in his system? He's like not perceiving reality quite correctly. Maybe it's a joke. It didn't look like he was joking. Like, he's genuinely confused.
Yeah. Enough confusing things have happened to him that he's not sure what's happening.
So while Ted's on the phone with Robin, she says, we need to talk about those phone calls. Can I come over?
Yeah, and Ted's not actually listening because he's sort of freaking out. Like, because now he knows that there's a strange woman in his bed. And, we got to talk about those phone calls because I think they were pretty creepy and maybe over the line, maybe not. But, like, if you were a lady on a date with another guy and some other dude who's calling you wasted drunk every 10 minutes, that's got to put a strain on any relationship. I mean, is that over the line? I don't know.
Yeah, I've given it quite a bit of thought, and I think it dances on the line.
Yeah.
Maybe puts its toe over a few times. I don't think it quite crosses the line for at least a few reasons. One, she didn't have to answer the phone. Like, I mean, I know he shouldn't be calling her that much, and so that's on him, but she doesn't have to answer. She can ignore the calls, she could press the end button and send them to voicemail. She could probably even temporarily block his number and then just the next morning unblock it so that it doesn't even vibrate, on her or in her purse the whole night. And no, he shouldn't be making the calls, but I mean, she doesn't have to answer them. Plus, there's nothing really that wrong with the calls themselves.
Yeah, there's nothing really vulgar.
Yeah, and it's not like he's saying, like, we should be together, dump that guy, he's a loser. Yeah, he doesn't say that. It's just like, take it slow. I haven't vomited since 1993. It's just like stating facts.
Yeah.
I
mean, the weirdest one was, Robin, come hang out. I'm going to make this noise till you come and hang out.
That lasted for 3 minutes.
Yes.
As long as the voicemail will last. And they were weird, but nothing quite crossed the line that I don't think a really unpleasant conversation couldn't resolve.
Yeah.
Which is what they try to have here. Once Robin comes over.
So while Robin's on her way, Lily says, we should really find out who that person is in your bedroom.
Probably.
And Trudy introduces herself to the group. Full of shame, maybe?
Danica McKellar. So yeah, she's not really pleased that she has to explain all this to a room full of people, but she does it anyway. She's a good sport.
Yeah. And she gives her side of the story. She reveals Barney faked the whole number thing with half boob. She recently broke up with someone and she just wants to get laid. She meets Ted in the ladies' room.
Yep.
During Ted's second rally.
Yes. And it turns out he didn't throw up.
Yeah.
Because he comes out of the stall. He's like, well, did you throw up? He's like, I did not.
Yes.
So he is still... And actually, he's not vomit-free since 93 because he vomited on Robin's doorstep.
Oh, during the re-return.
Yeah. So he's lying. But at least he didn't vomit during the pineapple incident.
Right. And I kind of like this scene in the bathroom with him and Trudy because Trudy's definitely vibing on Ted here. Like, she smiles, she's being flirty, she touches him when she puts her phone number in his phone and then hands the phone back to them. It's believable.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little surprised that she was that interested in him and that she thought that he was funny and clever when, to me, at that point, he was kind of coming off like a tool. But she was, and I was like, you go, Ted. I mean, this is, I guess, what happens when you shut off your brain and you just say things and you just, like, that whole thing about, like, was karaoke invented by a woman named Karaoke? It's like, that is kind of funny. He just seems like a dodo when he's saying it. And so, like, that wouldn't have been attractive to me, but she totally likes it, and that works for her.
It's another example of timing in this episode because she was ready to receive that kind of person in her life at that moment.
Yep. Yeah, like you said, she had just gotten out of a 2-year relationship. She wanted to have some fun. She'd said that in the episode. And Ted seems like, well, he also says, I'm something stupid. You could do me.
Yeah.
And, that is funny. Yeah. But very specific circumstances where that would work.
It's forward, yet self-deprecating.
Yeah.
It's arrogant, yet humbling.
It's the perfect line.
It's the daddy's home of lines.
Oh.
Anyway, so she's in the cab ride home when Ted hits the redial. Like we were talking about, he was talking to Carl. He hits the redial. He's actually talking to her. It's like, we're both drunk, or at least I am. Just come on over. And apparently that works, guys.
It did, yeah. Like we're saying, that sort of special set of circumstances, the perfect timing.
Perfect timing, yeah.
So she comes over. They don't say it, but Ted's pretty sure, even though he remembers none of this, he's pretty sure that they did do some stuff. They fooled around at least some.
Yeah.
She doesn't say, but she sort of has, like you said, that sort of guilty expression on her face. Not that they've done anything wrong, but just that sort of, I guess, explaining it to a room full of strangers.
Yeah. It's your personal business exposed to several people you don't know.
Right. So it seems like something happened, but that's when Robin's going to come over. So Trudy's got to hide. Ted hides her in the bedroom.
Yes. Hides her in the bedroom. She's tiny. She could have fit like underneath the couch cushions or something.
She's that tiny.
Yeah, she's very small. But, this is when Ted and Robin have their conversation about the phone calls, and Ted's trying to explain that, no, I'm not all that into you. I just had sex with a strange woman last night. Come meet her.
Yeah, that's just sort of like, again, Ted's all my cards on the table. Like, I don't have any way out of this.
Yeah.
This is a terrible lie. I'm going to bail. So it's like, I'm just going to put all my cards on the table because I can't explain away all those calls without telling you that I slept with somebody last night. So, yeah, it's like, come meet her. Wildly inappropriate, Ted, but whatever. So they go into his room. She has actually magically transformed into a pineapple and is shy.
Yes.
Just as Ted described her.
Yeah. But, of course, we learn later that she obviously climbed out the fire escape. The same fire escape that in Trudy's return episode, Marshall refuses to climb out on because a pigeon took a crap on it. The whole thing shifted.
Yep, so Marshall won't go out there. But like you said, Trudy's small.
She's very tiny.
Yeah, lightweight. She can get on the fire escape and
40 kilos.
Get out of there. It's a kilo.
I don't know.
And
2/3 stone.
And he still has her number. They don't do anything in this episode where they say that he never sees her again. He does say that they never find out about the pineapple, or he never finds out about the pineapple.
But they eat it anyway.
That wasn't as weird to me as it was to you.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's any way that the pineapple was used in any sort of sex act. Even though I know there are plenty of people on the internet that disagree with me. I'm pretty sure, looking at your expression, that you disagree with me.
It's just funny to think about because of the look of horror on Ted's face when he wakes up and the first thing he sees is that pineapple on his bedside table, and it's like, oh God, what happened to it? What happened last night? What did I do with that pineapple? Did I stick it? Did I stick it somewhere? Did I stick it in her? Did she stick it in me? Was it in my butt?
I don't think a pineapple can go in a butt.
So we've mentioned already the first time we've heard Daddy's home. First time we get to see Trudy. She will come back in the 3rd season, in the 3rd episode, in the 3rd wheel, where she's part of the tricycle, or not. And Barney gets his first high five. And also we hear I'm Back, Baby Doll. So Chris, tell me about that.
Yeah, whenever Ted comes back to the bar in this episode, he says, I'm back, baby doll. And while this does not become a thing, I wonder if it's the origin of Tony's bastardization in The Wedding Bride, where Ted's constantly saying, no can-do'sville, baby doll.
Yeah, I buy that. So we rarely talk about the special effects anymore, but this one had a great little CGI flames, the spinning pineapple, the red dragon, and that sort of hazy dream sequence in the beginning of the episode.
Mm-hmm. We see something again like that with the woman who has crazy eyes.
Oh, yeah.
In season 2. I actually have to make a comment here. There was another top-bottom split screen when Ted is on the phone with Robin. And I want to apologize to the fans because this is now the 2nd episode after the pilot that's had the top and bottom split screen, when I said in that episode that there wasn't any more throughout the rest of the series. The other episode that has it is The Sweet Taste of Liberty.
They'll never forgive you for that.
I also want to talk about the bad idea genes. When Ted starts to call Robin the first time, Marshall says, well, bad idea genes, which is a fairly obscure reference to an SNL sketch where Phil Hartman, Mike Myers, Kevin Nealon, David Spade, and Bob Odenkirk wear bad idea brand jeans and talk about all the bad ideas that they have. And I also find that interesting because Bob Odenkirk would later have a part on the show as Arthur Hobbs for 8 appearances.
Yeah, that you just listed off a whole bunch of huge 90s stars, and then Bob Odenkirk.
Yes.
Who has become very successful in the last 5 years with Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and of course How I Met Your Mother.
Right.
But yeah, I remember the Bad Idea Genes SNL sketch, and I remember hearing Marshall saying Bad Idea Genes and knowing that he was referencing this sketch, and I was like, wow, that is really obscure.
It is, and it was like 12 years before the episode.
I wonder if that was like one of Carter Craig's sketches or something, because they worked in television. I don't know what they did before Letterman.
Let's do the character motivations.
I'd say Ted's motivated by finding out the truth. I mean, in this episode, most of his screen time is just him drunk, so it's kind of hard to say he was motivated to be drunk.
Well, I think he was motivated to do and not think.
Yeah.
Like once he started to get into that mindset, he was okay with the doing and the not thinking.
He was definitely ready to let go.
But then you're right. Like once he's woken up the next day, his motivation is to like solve the mystery.
Yeah.
Who's the woman? Why the pineapple? Why the ankle? Why the writing on the arm? Did I throw up? So many questions.
Yeah. Robin, meanwhile, is she's on the date with Thurston Howell, or Derek, actually, during the most of the episode, and she just keeps getting these phone calls from Ted, and I guess she's motivated to set some boundaries with Ted, if anything else.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Lily didn't do a whole lot. I have that she's somewhat the voice of reason. Like you said, she's kind of like the mom of the episode again.
The mom who encourages you to get blackout drunk and then tells you shouldn't have done that kind of thing.
And then high fives you for banging a stranger.
Yes.
No, for banging your friend.
Yes, for banging her friend.
Yes. So then there's Marshall.
Yeah, he's pretty much all about, damn it, Trudy, what about the fucking pineapple? He just wants to know about the pineapple.
Is he the only one
interested? He is the only one who's interested in the pineapple. So, sorry, Marshall.
So Barney lights Ted on fire when he's not doing the thing that he wants him to do.
And Barney also wants to see what kind of trouble Ted will get into when he's doing, not thinking.
Right, like you said, almost like a spectator.
Yeah.
He wants to, what'll happen next? I think he even says something like that.
Exactly that.
So, life lesson this week, James?
Well, I mean, if I had to pick, I'd say, don't drink liquor. So that's it for this one, folks. Thanks for listening. Tell us what you think by emailing us at himiumsuperfans@gmail.com.
Yeah, and each week James and I get so much out of discussing the episode. We really enjoy doing this, and we hope you enjoy it too.
Join our Facebook group. That's facebook.com/groups/himiumsuperfans, and leave us a message there.
Yeah, and if you like the show, the best way to help us out is to give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. You don't have to write a review.
Yeah, since no one will read that review anyway, just use that space to give us a list of vegetables you'd rather have shoved.
And give us that 5 stars. It really helps us with getting discovered. It helps us grow our audience so that we can keep making the show.
And please tell your friends about this show. Like us on Facebook. And if you could do me a favor, hit that share button. And that's it, folks. Thanks so much for listening.
Damn it, Trudy. What about the pineapple?
Drink all 5, bitch.
I don't think a pineapple can go in a butt.
I'm just going to put all of them in there.
Good stuff.